We welcome you back to our program, and as we all know, California's gone through some changes the last couple of years with the redistricting that's been going on, and our next guest is somebody who has been impacted by that. He's Assemblyman Allan Mansoor, Republican, and he has been representing, I believe it was the 68th district.
Correct.
And now you represent the 74th, and the 74th is now this community, Laguna Woods Village. Local guy, grew up in Costa Mesa, went to school, went to, I guess, Orange Coast College, and so you're a local guy as far as that. You worked for the Sheriff's Department for a while. Why the decision to get into government, starting off with your city council? How did you decide to make the move into government?
Well, I was very concerned with what was going on in my community, quality of life issues, traffic issues, the same issues that we all deal with every day, you know, and public safety, want to make sure the community was safe. But my background is in law enforcement, so it kind of came naturally that I wanted to serve the public, and I took an interest in my community and decided to run for local office, and it's been a great asset, especially being up in Sacramento, realizing how important local government is.
So your experience was as a city council member and mayor in Costa Mesa, and of course Costa Mesa was one of the areas you represented in the 68th. That's now the northern end of your district, the southern end being, I guess, Laguna Beach in this community. You've also inherited about half of Irvine, along with the rest of the coast, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, and Huntington Beach as well. So
correct.
I guess your time at the beach is justified now as part of your job, which is a good perk to have. Currently you are in Sacramento and you've been serving up there. Some of the committees that you serve on?
I serve on the Health Committee and the Budget Committee and Budget Sub 1 on Health and the PERS Committee, Public Employee Retirement Social Security. So anything dealing with health and pension issues are very important.
Obviously issues that would be important to many of our viewers here, many of them former government workers and maybe are relying on that government pension in lieu of Social Security. So obviously decisions made in Sacramento could impact some
Absolutely,
of those folks.
And we want to make sure that it's a stable system. We don't want the pension system to go broke. That's why reform is necessary. When people can retire from state jobs with 100% of their benefits for life, that is unsustainable, especially when the taxpayers have to make up the difference. It's not fair to the taxpayers.
Obviously, you have personal experience in that area, having worked for the Sheriff's Department. I would imagine, I'm not sure how many years you worked there, but you were probably qualified for a retirement pension with the Sheriff's Department, correct?
Well, leaving early, I'm giving up a full retirement, and I did that gladly. But had I stayed, I would have been able to retire with close to or up to 100% of my retirement for life, and that is unsustainable. I have to acknowledge that. But by leaving early, I do not receive that.
What about as an assemblyman? Do members of the assembly get a pension when they retire?
No, we do not.
Really?
No.
Unlike other elected officials then?
Correct.
It's a little bit different there. A lot of our folks are concerned about the educational system here in California. Right. We've seen recently demonstrations on college campuses. Just this last weekend, Orange Coast College had demonstrations. Right. We've seen them at Cal State Fullerton and other schools around the state. We've seen the state universities, the state colleges, and the community colleges all impacted with some of the budget cuts. One of the local TV stations in LA doing a series on some of the salaries being paid to some of the administrators there. As somebody who's interested in our state and education, some of the things you see that need to happen in the educational field.
Well, we should be funding education. It should be and is a top priority. It's a top priority for me. The money's there. We simply need reforms in other areas. Like I mentioned, we need pension reform. But last year, the Republicans did put a budget forward that had no cuts to education, and it was rejected. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle did not really give it the time of day and the justice it deserved. We should be putting education first.
A lot of people are concerned about, we hear a lot about it on the national level, you know, in the area of job creation perhaps, is the infrastructure, you know, potholes in the roads, bridges. Now you represent the coastal areas. There's a lot of environmental issues probably along the coast that could be dealt with. Now we're seeing things from Japan floating into the United States, primarily in Alaska, but eventually that stuff's going to float down here as well. So lots of issues affecting us in that area. What are some of the things you see as you've inherited this new new area, some of the new challenges that you face, specifically representing the coastal areas?
Right. Well, we should be putting money into infrastructure, whether it's roads, or water issues, water storage, making sure our water is clean, our beaches are clean. Absolutely, those infrastructure issues are very important. That's why we need reform. I don't think that the people can really afford to pay higher taxes, and it's not justified if we're not reforming pensions, doing regulatory reform, and bringing jobs back to our state. That's where the money is.
All right. Currently, you're running, again, to continue to represent now your new district. You have two challengers, a member of the city staff, or a member of the city council, I should say, in Newport Beach, and an independent businessman running as well. So you've got two challengers. You've had a couple of debates already. This is a first for you. I know you challenged an incumbent, I believe, in 2010 to get into the assembly up in that area at first, correct?
No, there was no incumbent when I first ran for assembly.
Okay.
But yeah, there are I do have two challengers, and one's Democrat, one's Republican, and there are some clear differences. One of my main opponents, my Republican opponent, supported giving lifeguards the 3% at 50, which gives them almost $200,000 a year in benefits for life. That's unsustainable. That's something that needs to be reformed.
What about the whole area of law enforcement? I know as a former member of the Sheriff's Department, you probably have some strong feelings on that. What about crime in this area? We think of this as a relatively crime-free area, but there's unfortunately crime everywhere. Do you see some needs to be changed in the law enforcement field?
Well, we should be fully funding it, absolutely. It's unfortunate when we have to make cuts when there's no reform to go along with it. If we did things like pension reform, as I mentioned, regulatory reform, bring jobs back that are going to other states like Texas, then you'll see our tax revenues go up. We'll have the money to pay for law enforcement, public safety, and infrastructure.
You've mentioned pension reform several times, and I'm assuming this would impact a lot of people, school teachers, law enforcement, firefighters, city employees. A lot of people took those jobs primarily because of the benefits. They might be able to make more money outside in the private sector. In some cases, they've sacrificed a salary to get the benefits. Isn't that a contract that the government's made with those people? And are you going to now try and retrofit that, take that away from them? Or is this going to be on new employees?
Well, there is a collective bargaining process in place. You can't just automatically take benefits that are already in place. But we can reform the system, especially for new hires. When people are retiring with 100% of their benefits for life, or purchasing what's called airtime, extra retirement without actually having worked it, the taxpayer makes up the difference. Or pension spiking, where you work 20 years at one level, you become an administrator and you get a higher rate of pay and retire at that rate, but you paid in at the lower rate for many years. The taxpayer is making up the difference. Those are the type of common sense reforms the taxpayer expects. So what's in place now is unsustainable. We need to bring it a little bit more in line with the private sector so that it doesn't go insolvent.
All right, lots of issues going on in California, and you'll be addressing those, I'm sure, the next few months in the debates. The way it works now, we could in fact have two Republicans running in the general election. The two top vote getters in the primary move on to the general election. Is that the way you understand it as well?
It's possible.
Yeah.
You know, there is a Democrat in the race, and
Right.
he may well get quite a few votes.
Right.
That remains to be seen.
All right.
But I want to let everyone know my door is always open. I have an open door policy. Glad to meet with anyone in the community anytime.
I know people appreciate open door policy. That's a good philosophy indeed. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Allan Mansoor, currently serving in the Assembly and now representing this community and running for re-election. We'll be coming back with more news and more guests right after this.